someone catch a list and share their questions and so on. It would be cool. And maybe you have a point for in all round groups, but let's try it out.
Like I feel sure gonna be barriers.
Yeah,
cool.
Like both like psychology. What he.
So, getting back to the program, guys, this was, for me at least, very inspiring. I got a lot of new ideas on your behalf. We have some time now until 12 o'clock, where we have some group works, elaborate on this. Please start looking at the scenarios again and talk about hopes, fears, assumption, and which kind of target audience are we actually talking about. I thought that you have many great questions regarding this. So start filling it out with some post-its and talk about it and which kind of consequences does that have for your scenario that you want to present. Please remember also to eat lunch. So
before 12?
Yeah, before 12.
Or maybe you can eat lunch afterwards. It's not going to take that long.
Okay.
It's not going to take more than an hour. The food for thought.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you can eat lunch at 1.
But I think it's a good idea to also use the time to buy it now.
Yeah.
If you need to buy it.
And also because when Food for Thought is finished, you'll have 1.5 hours to finish the presentation. You don't want to spend time on lunch at that time.
Okay.
So do it before. I would recommend that.
We have a Skype meeting with our team at 11:30.
Yeah. So we should probably just do lunch now and then be back by then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got some snacks for you. Fruit.
Fantastic.
Things like that. It's in the kitchen.
And remember, I'll just do. Camilla is here to help you and to inspire you. And if you have anything where you say, I have this presentation, should we try to do it? Pitch it for one of us or Camilla. Camilla haven't been a part of the last 2 days, so she can hear with fresh ears. So use her as much as possible. She will also arrange the food for thought for you.
Okay. Maybe let's eat and talk about really.
Yeah. I maybe just like to sum up quickly what I have a little bit of. I have different thoughts now on the entire project. I think it would be more interesting to get the focus away from the economy side of it, and then just get a more anthropological approach. Like, who will it be? What are the boundaries? Why is this technology difficult to domesticate itself? And who can, like the things you wrote right here? On this one is very interesting. Barriers, and also like, what is the next technology that can allow everyone to go? Because that can only almost be the elevator. Because there's something called what he was talking about, terminal velocity, how you escape Earth's gravity. And no matter how you do that, you're always going to feel the G's. And that's just, of course, we can't talk about every technology that's going to be made in the future. But as of right now, that seems like the only way of getting out of the by a rocket. You have to feel those G's. You can't do a slow approach. Because as you go up, air becomes thinner. You have to go faster with rocket propulsion, right?
I had a similar feeling. Like, I don't think we need to concentrate that much on what is the definition of the tourism or how much it's going to cost or whatever. We just assume that anyone can go. So anyone in the audience at the presentation can think that in 2037 that could be a traveler of space. So which are the implications? Like, how going to space can change your life? Is this just another destination? Like, again, you go to Thailand or you go to space, and it's more like related to the anthropological level, human-centered level, and the definition, like what travel means for humanity, for the individual, and how travel in space can affect that.
Yeah.
And the barriers as well. Like, it's...
Of course. And then, but I think it's interesting that he said there are physical limitations as to who can go. And that is only going to change when new technology arrives. Because not everyone, like, I'm not even sure at my state right now I could withstand 7 G's of force. But the space elevator is very interesting because it uses the centrifugal force of the Earth spinning in order to be weightless. So it's completely, the total energy on Earth going down, gravitational force on Earth is 0. So you could put it on a weight and it would be 0. Because the end is getting thrown away around so fast that it cancels out the weight. And that way you can spend no energy going, it's a vacuum, so no energy all the way up to space. It'll take longer, but it will be a more comfortable ride. And it's only 100 kilometers, so you don't have to go that fast.
Yeah, you enjoy the ride.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe the space elevators aren't like one shaft. Maybe it's a big restaurant that gets hoisted up. So you eat while you're on the way to space.
But that's beyond our time frame. Or we can make, I mean...
Yeah, I'm just saying it's an important thing to say, okay, who can't go and why can't they go? I think if we're doing barriers to tourism, that's number one biggest barrier. When I hear it, like, okay, my grandmother can't withstand 7 Gs. There's no way she can go. And he says, as long as there's not as long as the technology doesn't come around that issue, it'll be a physical barrier. I just thought that was super interesting. Because then I thought of rehabilitation centers and for medical purposes. That's a long way down the lines for flying patients up into space. Because if they're already super sick...
how the fuck can you go up?
Just imagine flying...
That's such an interesting question. Like, 2037, you're planning your vacation. Can you be a tourist to space?
Yeah.
And, like, just take into consideration the different factors.
Yeah, and I also wanted to ask him because space and technology is probably the most... I love that term because it's a very good description. Altruistic technology, just in general, is very altruistic. Business is not, usually. But there are physical limitations, and it's hard to be both altruistic and have limitations. Because then it won't be... Can you imagine, like, it's not even gender inequality, it's physical inequality.
Yeah.
And nobody can do anything about it. And you can probably imagine how some people will be devastated. Because I could imagine sci-fi guys sitting at home drinking Mountain Dew, like weighing 300 pounds or 300, that's not a lot, 500 pounds. I can't go to space because I'm too fat, right?
Yeah.
They would be devastated. And what does that lead? Then it becomes like an elitist type of travel, right? It's only for the physical, like everybody's like super fit up in space.
It's not like wealth discrimination anymore. It's physical discrimination.
But it is as well.
Well, yeah, that's why it's weird. It's both wealth discrimination.
Because your health is related to also how. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But also it's going to be expensive. Yeah. But just on top of being expensive, you have to be in great conditional strength.
The old guy, wasn't he like 70 years?
Who?
The Dennis Tito. He was 10 years ago. 15 years now ago. He was the first guy to go up there as a tourist.
Okay, and how old was he?
I think 70.
When he went?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, look at him.
Yeah, but you can tell he's in good shape, like just by looking at him.
Yeah, he's fit. I mean, I think he had like years of training.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Dennis.
And he paid how much? 50 million?
I think, hold on. 20 million. No, he spent 20 million for 8 days in space.
I really like how we can frame that entire... also because I fucking love that, actually. How we could frame the discrimination. Because it is, but it's a natural one.
Do you want to make a presentation about that?
No, I just want that to be a part of it. Because we're only in 2037. And we can just assume, because he said that people were working on it, but right now, because he can't really even speculate about technology, he says the 6 to 7 Gs are something that you cannot get around right now. He says space elevators.
Yeah. Okay, he was like 68 or something like that.
Okay. That's still...
That's very old.
But he must be in good shape. Have you looked at him? Is he a thin guy?
He's a thin, small guy.
Yeah. most astronauts are not very big and muscular. Also because it doesn't make sense to put on more muscle because 1 kilo costs more to send up into space. They can do the calculation, right?
Like if the thing was where will you go on vacation in 2037 and our presentation would be a sort of like road or guideline in terms of like getting out knowledge about the requirements and the barriers to be a tourist in space. So like how much money, but I don't want to focus too much on the money and wealth you need to be, the physical requirements.
I think we could...
The time, like...
Exactly. The time spent in preparation.
Yeah, like you want to go on vacation, well, you need to take into consideration that you need to train for like a month or whatever.
Yeah.
So...
I think that's a very good way. And also, we can do the introduction of this. Who will want to go to space? Assuming everybody wants to, that's great, right? But we could also. That's why I love like we could create a survey and actually try to present our own data. Maybe send it out. Would you want to go? Assuming that you could go. Yes.
Yeah.
How old are you? What's your gender? Blah blah blah. Just to make like just some basics. Ask data.
Yeah. So like present the benefits of going to space. Like how can going to space be so cool? Then the audience feels like they want to be a tourist of space in the future, and then barriers or success factors like what make you a good tourist or
able tourist.
Enabling factors and barriers, and the discrimination point is so fucking interesting.
Yeah, I really enjoy that because it's I don't know if that's a good term because it's so politically charged and it's the discrimination is physical.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't really be a racist if you are space. You have these laws. And you can't be racist for that reason because you are nature.
But I would totally disconnect from the whole business, industry, size, players.
That I would like to do that too, but it's just Elsa seems a little bit like she likes that topic a lot.
No, I do like it, but...
Yeah, I do like it too. This is just so like, whoa!
Camilla's offered to buy some food for us. So
what?
Some food for us.
I think we have.
Yeah, but
don't you think we don't have enough?
We've only got like half a rye bread and there's no topping left.
We have a second rye bread.
Where?
I don't know because we didn't.
Buy two?
No, yeah, we ate all of it almost.
Yeah, we
really?
almost did. Yeah.
Okay.
We ate 1.5 yesterday. So, unless you disagree, she'll.
Who should?
Camilla goes.
Oh, okay.
She's using my card.
But we have to as well add like all the costs together in the end, and then split it up.
Yeah.
Have first.
Yeah. It's easy. So far, we're the only one who's bought.
Yeah, or I can just use my card again, so then you just pay me back at the end.
I've also.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's you too.
But will you go?
I'll just go.
Camilla goes. She takes the card. So it's no problem.
Okay.
Vil du have en post?
Ja, jeg skal noget være syg.
I'm vegetarian, so it's not just sausages.
Ja.
Kører du afsted nu?
Ja.
Så når du er tilbage, så skal vi lige snakke food for thought.
Ja. Jeg håber, at har en god bil?
Om Teslaen er en god bil.
Kan den
Har en
bruges?
Tesla?
Kan den bruges?
Ja.
Jeg har aldrig kørt en Tesla.
Den kører sig selv.
Ja, så må jeg gå ikke ud af
måske ikke lige her. Gør det.
Du kan styre den.
Er der automatgear?
Ja.
Det her.
Du trykker på speederen, slipper speederen.
Ja, du trykker på bremsen, og det er, du starter den.
Ja, trykker bremsen, når man starter.
Ja, den fortæller alting. Den fortæller lige nok, hvad det gør. Den fortæller også, hvad du skal gøre for at køre den. Så det burde virkelig være til.
Ja, vi har stået på en hold.
Kan du lige skrive koden også?
Ja.
Godt. Så skal vi bare have tilbage sådan.
Are you driving with the Tesla?
Så.
Ja.
Nice.
I've tried a couple of times. But
Going
don't push on the speeder too much. It's insane. It's a racing car.
Kan I ikke hellere selv køre eller hvad? Det har virkelig godt overladet mange til.
That's insane.
That's insane. I'm a bit in a hurry, so
Yeah, I'm thinking.
There's sitting a girl waiting on your tea in there.
It's just I don't remember the code. Like it's once you don't remember that when you press it, it's just there.
okay, so you're pressing.
So I've written YouTube to my.
Og ellers, I must bare har du ikke kontaktløs?
Nej.
Du har ikke kontakt.
Det er jo bare et stort data, super meget data sammen.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking I want it to be more of like if we have a presentation. I like them to be able to imagine how it's going to be for them to live in an area where they can travel to space and how that's going to be. What does it mean for them?
Being able to go to space.
What was the question?
What are you thinking?
Now?
So also, yeah.
About what?
In general.
Oh, I love, like, I understand that you guys don't want to do like the technology, but I love like diving into what would a artificial like centrifugal force space station mean? What are the like key equations? I think it's very interesting that you could prepare people to go. Let's say mass tourism is a thing, but we have these travel hubs. Just like you have international airports, you have a travel hub in space. So you fly up to this international or multi-planetary travel hub in space, because that is mass tourism too. And then you spend maybe a few weeks in a centrifuge, basically, with the gravity of the planet you want to live on for the next 2 weeks. So you're in this thing, right? And if you're on Mars, it's something like 0.7% of the Earth's gravity. And you're getting used to, you're trying to get your body used to it, so you don't get a flu once you land. You don't get a hangover, and you're like completely disoriented. You can kind of get your body used to the conditions of wherever you're going. That for me is the most interesting part about this presentation. The number 2 is this, like discriminating factors and who will go, why will they go, what does it say? Where will you go on vacation, right? If it's an actual challenge, or if it's an actual competitor to tourism on Earth, why would you choose space more than once rather than going to China? And what is space culture? Like, will there be one entire culture? Like everybody's dressed in this silver clothing, gold clothing, everybody like has.
I think something we have to keep in mind is, for example, if we can create gravity up there, we can stay longer.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can stay longer, what's keeping you from living there except lack of resources for people to actually.
Expensive, like, and could you have a summer house? Like, that's tourism. I can go to my summer house in Malta. Yeah. I don't have one, but if I had, I can go to my little summer pod in space.
because that we have to keep in mind as well, that people actually can stay longer, and then it has as well with the physical limitations are lower, because you don't have to be in, like, if your muscles remain somewhat then you don't have to be that crazy fit, for example.
You just have to be fit enough to go up. Yeah, because then your muscles don't atrophy, your heart's still okay. Like, you don't have to be in this great shape. Because actually, how they condition astronauts is they get them in so good shape that they can decrease, and their physiology can decrease while they're there, which is fucking crazy. Let's send them up, but you have to be fit enough in order to lose some fitness while you're up there.
But as well, if you think about, like, in this slides that we got this morning was as well, like, who's our audience, what we want to create for that audience. I would like to, like, I don't know, I want them, it should be like something they can relate to. It should be something about them. So it should be like, you guys are the next generation that's going to be up there, so to speak. How is that possible for you to do that? So, I mean, in that sense, we can as well, I like we could have as well, like, okay, what kind of physical training? We could have, like, the physical center training that is before, like, the training that you need before to get up.
But that's what that's what Space Nation is doing. With the app, they're already preparing people. Because he said it. As he said, I thought it was a good point. Maybe we can quote him on that. Being an astronaut is a full-time occupation. While being a traveler in space just requires some training.
So it could be like something like that, so we can have like an optimized training thing that you go through before you go to space. Rather than having that, I don't know. I get the whole thing with, like, it being unequal and stuff like that. And I find that interesting, but what will that give the audience? It's gonna be like,
Well, I think that will, exactly because you said it was interesting, I think that's a good thing to say. Like, it's a good way to end the entire thing. Like,
I would say it as a
good provocative thing. Like, but what will this entail? Like, people that are below the physical average are never going to maybe be able to go to space.
But it's a different thing to frame the whole thing around inequality.
No.
But it's not about inequality per se. It's about the limitations.
But it's a discrimination in some sort of way. It's not. It's not active.
But nobody's discriminating. That's the thing. Nobody is discriminating. The technology just can't. They just can't. The people that are below the physical average can't benefit from this technology because the technology isn't advanced enough.
I know, but then that will be a whole picture presentation in itself. The whole discrimination based on wealth and physical fitness. It is like this whole elite.
But I don't think it has to be the entire Picha Kucha. It can be the last 2 slides. Like, where do we go from here?
I wouldn't use it as the overall theme.
40 seconds, then.
Just like 40 seconds, Just being like, okay, but it entails, because we're going to set the setting. You have to be physical. You have, how do we prepare people? What type of people will go in the beginning? All those sorts of things. I think actually the entire discrimination thing is really funny because discrimination isn't almost a proper word to use. It's the only word I have in my vocabulary right now because it's not really an active discrimination. It's more of a passive one. It's like, say, like Mensa. That's an active discrimination. If you don't have a high enough IQ, you can't be a part of Mensa, right?
It's a barrier.
It is a huge barrier. And I love the entire barrier thing you also said. What are the barriers? Well, we can also that's what we're very fond of in design thinking and stuff, like creating big, figures, like barrier leads to this, leads to that, and they overlap each other, and then in the middle, here are the people that can go, but we disregard this amount of population and stuff like that. And I'm not sure, maybe we should not write anything down before we have the talk with the other team. Just to, like, aerate it. Because maybe they have some great insight also. And then after we talk with them, we can just, like, try to narrow down what our focus should be.
I think we can write something. It doesn't harm for us to write something down.
No, but like I meant write down as this is like be focused on that.
No, I don't think we should even decide what we're gonna focus on.
No, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
So this is one option. What is another option?
Road to.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, I wouldn't narrow it down on it yet.
Why would you go to space? Who will go to space, and where do you go?
And why would you go again? You know?
Exactly. Like, that's also what I find interesting. If it doesn't have any other. I
can compare it to bungee jumping, for example. Some people do it several times because they feel like.
Can you bungee jump from space? Like that guy Felix, whatever his name was.
Oh shit! Yeah. That was.
Or like parachuting or whatever. Do I know what?
The edge of the stratosphere.
Because something more extreme, right?
Yeah.
So, will people go again?
I mean,
will they do up there? Then there has to be, because if you think about that, okay, if there should be actually like a whole mass tourism thing, then it should be something you come again for. So what things have to be up there in order for it to be appealing to come again?
Yeah.
And or to come in the first, to come in the first place is enough, but like.
And can you keep like with our technology, can your body withstand? That's also something that'll be the test of time, right? Doing it often, like, oh, I'm just gonna go here. It's like going to the Hamptons in New York. I'm just gonna go here once a month, play a little clubhouse golf, right?
Yeah.
But I could definitely see it also becoming like a super 1% type thing where you're like sitting, dining in a restaurant, looking down on Earth, like what?
Another thing
super villain style.
I think one thing could be that what we were talking about with the whole training thing. Another thing could be actually to jump already to the whole experience design or domestication of space.
Yeah.
If we assume in the next 20 years, regulations have been taking place already. Like there's already all the regulations, there's all the safety and health regulations in place. So already a few thousand people have gone up there now. And they have built up slowly that whole little city up there, or like city place where you tourist city, let's call it that.
Yeah.
And how will that look like? What will be up there? What will we need? That could be another way to go about it, because if you can already fly up there now / 10 years ago, as a non-astronaut, then 20 years more. And there's quite a few people that can go. And it is as well, we assume that there's a lot of people that can go.
Yeah.
And there is gravity, so people actually can go without getting too much damage from it.
Yeah.
So how will the space look like? How will your vacation up there look like? You know?
Yeah.
Because then we can take the listeners to a trip of like, this is gonna be you in 20 years. And this will make them dream about going into space.
Yeah, but now for me, when it's an interesting thing, but for me again, it becomes too much about trying to set the scene and not so much the challenges of getting there. Like the entire...
But that's the thing, we want to make it like, tell them about all the barriers that is to go up there, and we're not going to focus on the technology because, we could say, okay, what kind of space aircraft there will be and what this will mean for people going up there, because if we have this kind of space aircraft that does this and this, the cost will go down to this and this, and people can go up like that within we can do that. We can as well be like, and then you have to take training and what do I know what in order to do that. But I think it would be really inspiring to get an insight, because when I read the Axiom Space, please have a look at it, you can skim it now.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool the way they did it. It's like
herover, tror jeg.
But I
Så
think
står han her og præsenterer.
exactly because
Så optager
everything
den der,
is so
både det her og det han siger, så de andre kan se
every
det.
website about space tourism and all the companies,
I'll send you a
they're
link.
such visionaries.
Fra dem.
I think it's very interesting to think about some of the things that they don't think about. Like, I don't.
They think about everything. We can't think of anything that they don't think of.
No, but they don't put it on their website.
Og vi kan ikke
Yeah,
bare bruge én
that's something
computer,
else.
du hænger frem og tilbage.
So
But we're not that kind of experts that we can. You know, I think it would be way more interesting to be able to give the people an experience.
Så når vi kan følge præsentationen.
Especially because that's what the picture things are there for. They're supposed to tell a story.
yeah, I agree.
And I think it would be really cool to take people on like a ride of like, this is the future. This is gonna be you. You're gonna be doing this. This is gonna be you in 20 years.
I think this is a good point, and I would use it to set the scene at the start of the presentation to let the people understand how cool it's space tourism and make them identify with it. But I wouldn't use it as the main focus. Like, then
What do you want to be the main focus?
the road to get there. Like you're living now in 2017, and you
As in like what's supposed to happen by then?
in like which are the requisites for you to be able to be a tourist.
I don't find that interesting. I find that interesting to be like saying like, okay, in order, if I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna tell you the dream of you becoming a pro soccer player. And then I'm like, okay, you're gonna be a pro soccer player, your life is gonna look like this, and then I'm gonna be like, but in order for that to happen, you'll have to be physical fit, you have to train every day for 6 hours, you'll have to do this and that and this and that, and you'll have to have the money, you'll have to get the sponsorship, you have to, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't find that interesting to hear that.
But
like,
that's kind of like the prerequisite for what you want to talk about.
Jamen, ja, jeg har brug for at sige...
You want to talk about how it is up there,
Det er jo så hænger.
but
wanna
there are
tell-
some barriers you need to jump. You have to go through the barriers in order to get there. That's like saying it's like I want to go on a road trip across the United States, and you could tell about that. Oh, it's gonna be so awesome, and then but you have to have some
do
things.
we
You
wanna
have
make
to
it-
have a car. You have to have.
But that's the thing, like, what you wanna, if you are like, okay, you're gonna say, okay, we're gonna go, this is you, you're gonna go on this road trip from here to there, then there, then there, and there, and there, and then you're gonna be like, you'll have to have a car, you'll have to have enough money, you'll have to, you know, like, I wouldn't find that appealing, and like, if it's that short amount of time, why would I tell you about like the instructions of it, when much rather I can tell you about like, the dream, you know?
Because what he said.
Because literally, okay, if you would watch something, if you would watch a presentation about a road trip through Australia, would you want to hear about the different places in Australia that you're gonna go, or would you want to hear? So here you can rent a car, and then you'll have to make sure.
This is such a good example. And honestly, I wouldn't watch neither of them. This I was talking about, you're right, it's boring. But also the one you're talking about, it's your dream. Like, I don't wanna see your dream. So maybe I won't. I have to think about it. I don't know the answer, but neither of them. But this is such a good example. We should use this too.
But it's not even about, for me, it's not about the planning so much, it's about the dilemmas of space travel. Like, why is it a dilemma to have something where, like, because there's nothing on Earth where you have to plan 3 years ahead in order to travel.
But you won't have to do that if it's mass traveling, mass space traveling. You won't have to plan 3 years ahead. That's the whole point of it.
Is that your definition of mass tourism?
Yeah.
You don't have to?
You don't have to. You will have to have some sort of training.
You can have mass tourism and everybody plans 3 years ahead. And it's still mass tourism because
but it's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like that because the cost that it is to train someone for 3 years, it's not going to be mass tourism because it's not going to be available to people to be able to train for 3 years.
Listen to what he was saying.
But he was saying that they're going to cut down, that's what they're working on, they want to cut down that period. They want to have like, because you don't have to be a professional astronaut. In order to be a professional astronaut, they train for 9 to 3 months.
Exactly.
9 months to 3 years. That's to become a professional astronaut. On the level of them, yes. But they say, what he was saying is like, you're not we don't want people to become professional astronauts. We want people to be travelers to space. So in that sense, this will be just cut down. It's not going to be 9 months. It's going to be a week, 2 weeks.
I don't think you're right. I just don't think you're right because you have to understand that 7 Gs is a tremendous stress to the body. No, not every human in the world can withstand that, even by training a week. Because
but they're not going to be able to withstand that with training for 3 years either. Every human.
Go to Space Nation's website and you'll see that it's years of training still. It's like a plan. They just look at your prerequisites. Like, this is what you have to be able to do. Where are you? And then he said customizable. So that means for some people, it's still going to be a long ass time. And for other people's, it probably, you're already ready. Fine, go ahead. Step into the vehicle, right? But what they're selling is not just the physical. It's also the experience of you identifying with astronauts, because you have the cognition training, you have the teamwork training, you have the physical training, you have orientation about what life is best.
He said, like, quote, you're not supposed to be an astronaut, you're supposed to be a space traveler. And if an astronaut can take 9 months, if it takes you 9 months to become an astronaut, which is like a huge freaking education that they have to go through. It's not going to take you 9 months in order to become a traveler.
Do you think they take a very random person from the street, completely random, and train them?
No.
Exactly.
And that's now as well, and we have to think about in 20 years.
No, but that's kind of your point, is you say, yes, an astronaut is 9 to 3 years, yes, that's true, and you're not going to be an astronaut, and the G, like the artificial gravity, will also have a huge benefit in
maybe there will be a technology that.
But we're disregarding technology advances, because then
we can't disregard technology advances. We can't assume that we're going to stay at this level.
That's just what you started by saying.
No, I didn't.
Yes, because
we're not going to focus on the technology advancement because we don't know. We're not going to make this whole thing about technology advancements because we're not engineers. But we still have to assume that it's going to be improving. Obviously, it's going to improve.
Well, then I would just say our basic.
And that's just going to be an assumption. This is how technology is going to look like.
But yours is an assumption.
Just like we're going to assume that we have gravity out there.
But your dream that you want to presentate, like this is the outer space, everyday life. That's also an assumption. That's a huge assumption.
Everything we'll do is.
Not everything, because no, it's not. Because we have physical barriers. Right now, we don't have any.
But we're assuming that there's not going to be an advancement that eradicates that. Again, assumption.
That's what, just based on what he said.
Yeah, but.
He said within 20 years, he can't see anything eliminating the G's that you have to experience in order to propel yourself into you.
But in 30.
But we're not talking about 30. We just agreed before talking to him that we would kind of take our basis in what he was saying.
And then you said, no, or do we want to take the scientific paper?
No, I haven't talked about the scientific paper.
When we talked about the price, you were like, oh, should we just take the scientific paper?
But we're not talking about the price anymore.
No, but I mean, you know.
But in order to understand what a terminal velocity is, you have to understand that you have to be traveling. That's just a given fact. It's a physical barrier. You have to be traveling at a certain speed and a certain acceleration. It's all based on acceleration. Yes. And in order to propel yourself out of that, you're going to experience 7 Gs of continual force, because you're constantly, in order to experience.
But only for 20 seconds or so.
Why?
That's what he said.
No.
It's going to be a short, and then once you're out, then it's gone. This is even in axial space. I can show you. It says
he said that when flying an airplane, that's short bursts of high G, while this will be a longer period of low G.
Det skal være klar til kl. 12, så jeg håber, vi sådan kunne gøre det. Nu ringer jeg lige for at høre, om det overhovedet kan lade sig gøre. Ikke? Jamen, vi er ude på
ret anthropological thing is more interesting to me. I just don't want to have. I think I could paint a very vivid picture of what I think space would look like.
But yeah, but that's yours.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
So.
Then I become
8 minutes after launch.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's already when you're like in 0G.
Windows.
When
exactly.
Yes.
So that's when.
Okay, 8 minutes.
TeamViewer.
But you haven't even experienced. You probably haven't even experienced 2 Gs like continuously.
You need them.
Yes, yes, I have. I just have paid attention because I knew when it was happening. When you take a roller coaster ride, when you're at the bottom, that's 5 Gs. Just think about being like that. You remember your face going all the way down, right? When you're at the bottom of a loop.
Too.
Yeah, but you have
her,
okay.
119.
I'm sorry, but it's just about putting it into perspective. So now I'm gonna help you try to put it into perspective. Experiencing that type, like that, you know how you're like 5 Gs. That's like the max in Denmark to experience.
Så det der hedder OBS
for
Studio.
example, and then the bottom. We can actually just do a calculation, but at the bottom of the Eiffel or the Golden Tower, I think it's something like 4 or 5 Gs.
Det er en studenteransat, der har fået det der computeren, som jeg hjælper her.
That's intense.
I was in the Europa Park, which is in Germany, which has like way crazier ones than Tivoli has.
Yeah, just
so I would assume that would then be higher than.
Yeah, do a Google search. How many Gs?
Ja, det har jeg skal indtage skruer rundt om alle skruer.
Just how many? Do you know the? Just how many Gs? The highest amount of.
Altså jeg kan sige nej til den her kontrol af brugerkonti. Og ellers så skal jeg kunne indtaste brugernavn og adgangskode.
8 minutes is just such a long time.
Skal jeg prøve at sige nej, så gør jeg nok tilbage, så har du adgang til den igen her. Sådan.
He just said, right? He said 2 minutes.
No, for remoten.
6.3 G is the highest I've experienced.
Okay. For probably.
Så skal man sætte en VPN op, eller hvad?
Half a second. Probably lower than that. Possibly more if you're going.
Less than a minute.
Nu gør den det igen.
Way less than.
And then ours in the German fair there's like 5.2 various ones.
And now imagine that not being on your spinal cord, but being on your chest.
But it is if you're going down like, then feel the force.
You feel the force on top of your head still.
Okay.
Because you're sitting up straight. If you were lying on your chest, then you would feel the force here.
Okay.
But it's like emulating atmospheric pressure. So it feels like the pressure is coming from the top of your head, and you're getting pulled down. But this is just a discussion on physics now.
Okay, but coming back to the Australia road trip, if you imagine like a destination you really, really want to go to because it's super cool, and you need to watch a presentation about this destination, what do you want to be informed about? Like,
I would want we can watch one and see if that's appealing to us, but then they talk about like the animals that you can find there, and then they talk about the stars that you see because it's in the outback. You can have like a really, really nice star view because there's no
det tror jeg ikke, nej.
pollution out there because there's no factories, nothing. There's barely any cars, barely any people. Then they show you a place where there's waterfalls, and they show you another place where there's actually snow, and they show you the desert. You know, like
but that's like your ideal presentation.
Yeah.
So
you would find that boring to see.
Skal jeg trykke administrere?
You wouldn't want to see that.
I think for
det kan være, at du bliver smidt af på grund af VPN selvfølgelig.
So it would also be with the people you meet.
51-54.
Experiences I can have.
That are your experiences and not anybody else's.
119,
I mean, it's already
55, 0, 51.
Go on into space. That's not everybody that's gonna do that.
Well,
that's
it
a really
is.
Nice combination.
That's the premise.
Yeah. Did you find a thing to work from?
No.
No, we're not. We don't find the same things the most interesting.
51-54.
We're trying to
find a common ground.
Yeah. And also the public.
We're trying to find out what people would like to hear about, because
maybe you should ask us.
Yeah, we were talking about the whole space discrimination thing. Who can go to space, and why is that a problem? I find that very interesting, because he said, as of technology right now, we have no. So let's see. Jeg kan ikke høre om snart.
Oh my god. Svært er det.
Meget svært. Different cold.
What?
51-54.
So let's say
I've given her the wrong code.
some people can go to space, right? We just saw that it takes 8 minutes for you to get out
Currently.
Currently. Assuming that stays the same. And
no, we don't assume that stays the same. 20 years, it's not going to be the same. It's like cars 20 years ago, how fast they go, how fast they go now. And that accelerated.
No, but the terminal velocity is a constant.
No, but the speed that we can go at can be higher.
But if you go, okay, so let's say that's true. Okay. That's even a bigger determining factor, because if you go faster, that's acceleration, that's even more G's. That's even less population of people that can experience that without dying.
Det er sådan et blødet af, ikke også, som om at den er i det der.
No, you can't.
But I think it will take longer to go to space. I think that's necessary.
Exactly.
It will be a lot cheaper. It will use a lot less fuel because it will be gentler. You can use supersonic. Yeah, it's very, very possible. You can escape velocity. The biggest gravitational force is the closer you are to Earth. So a rocket that is...
But it's called escape velocity because you need to go a certain speed.
Exactly, but you don't have to accelerate from...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Down.
Okay, I see
you can use a plane where you take off slowly. It could be super smooth and easy. Supersonic plane, accelerated to 9 Mach, like 9 times the speed of light, and then from there the rocket turns
15 Mach.
Something like that. I mean,
okay.
And you can already go to really, really high speeds. From there you ignite the rockets way further from the center of the Earth, and then you escape.
And that can be shorten the amount of time that you're...
But it won't shorten the amount of time.
No, I mean shorten the amount of time of like that you're having the
experience the G's. Yeah. That's possible. That's possible. But it will take longer.
Yeah, but that's alright.